see. Wait until it kicks over to the. So. Maybe it'll be here now. What about now? Yeah, getting it. Okay, so it must be when I go to the cam view, it doesn't give me anything. Right, that was painful. So we've got 3 people in. That's myself and my producer and someone else.
Oh, hello, person.
So I tried to be smart and set up OBS to share different views where I could like show just the cam and then just the screen. I obviously haven't configured the cam view properly, so that's why there's no audio at the start. So let's get things going. I think everything's looking alright. Really annoying because the delay on the screen I have down here. So if you see me looking down, I have like an iPad watching the live stream live, but there's a good bit of a delay on that. So we'll see how this goes. So I'll start off just kind of chit chat and talking shite. So as you've seen, the title of the channel is the Dyslexic Developer. I don't want to say JavaScript developer, I'm I don't know, web developer, software engineer, whatever you want to call it. Work predominantly with web technologies, heavily dyslexic, hence the catchy title. And this series is what I call like the Hello Drunk World series. And it's where I get drunk, smoke, I'm on a vape this time, and try and build out something, do something that I haven't used before, I haven't tried before. If you've seen the other ones, it either goes successful or it goes horribly wrong, but we learn and have fun along the way. Just ignore this empty tab page. It's just better than having a GIF running on Twitter. So this week, I say this week, I'm going to try and do this weekly, is we're drinking a nice Malbec. It is ice cold from the fridge. I know you're not meant to do that, but it makes it taste better because I buy cheap wine, and cheap wine tastes better when it's chilled. So let's kind of get into like where we're going with this, and I'll keep an eye on the chat and the video as we're going along, so if it randomly cuts out or something breaks. I'll also keep an eye on Twitter in case I need to share or post any of this again. I actually might just reshare that link one more time for anyone who was watching along. I'll catch any of the ones that were on this. So we'll be getting started soon. So we're up to 3 people, well, 1 technically, but this is all recorded and you can watch it again later. I'm hoping to try and keep this to an hour. I think I got close last time compared to like an hour and a half the first time I was doing it. So let's get started with. So the idea behind this is I wanted to kind of shift from building out trying to figure out just a random web application I can build with a new framework that I've never used before. We kind of want to like build out something new using some interesting tools, but I want to do it all in an hour as quick as possible. And I think the idea behind it is kind of interesting. I want to build a site that is going to be I know that is so small. Lost the tools for it. It's okay, right? I think Excalidraw has crapped itself. It's not only me that fails at technology, it's other tools too. probably saw something there. We don't need Excalibur. We're going to build ourselves. So I wanted to build out something that, we're all in lockdown. We're all kind of either working from home or not working at all. With either side feeling a lot of pain, more some than the other. But it's very easy to lose track of the days. Especially if I find myself, if you're working from home, you lose that traction between, like, is it Monday, is it Thursday? Do I need to get up on Saturday to go to work, or do I need to get up on Tuesday to go to work? So I wanted to, like, have this idea of building a site that you can just go in and it tells you what day it is. Yes, you could probably use other things. You could just keep track of the days or your phone, but let's try and play along with something. And you might hear a little creak or whatever that's from my chair because I'm sitting in an awkward position. Or you might hear the dog barking in the background. And along the way, we'll get drunk and have fun. We're up to 4 in the chat, which means we're actually got 2 people who aren't in the same household that are watching it. So let's get interesting. Any comments, questions, things that you're curious what I'm doing, ask me in the comments. There's a bit of a delay from the comments to the live stream feed, so we'll try and work that out. So as I said, we want to build a site that when we go into the site, let's see if we can get the scale draw working. Command Shift T. Maybe better just do an incognito. Clear all our cache and cookies. Yeah. So I want to build this site that is going to tell us what fucking day is it. My hotkeys are playing up.
Forgot.
Yeah, I know, it flicked over that somehow. I'm gonna get rid of that scene. So it should, yeah, it kind of fucked up there, but it should just go back to me soon. I know I'm saying this in a delay, but it'll work out. Yeah, okay, we're back. So I want to have something that says, like, what fucking day is it? God, this live stream's going very bad, like, compared to the other ones. Okay, I think we're now back. So I want to say what fucking day it is. We're going to have a little GIF that I've prepared earlier, then a little bit of a delay while we, like, I don't know, process some data, maybe fetch some resources. Thanks for letting me know in the comments, everyone. You wouldn't think this wasn't the first time I've done this. I think I would have got this down to some sort of pretend art by now. And then I guess after we've got it, I like that banner because it has a swear word in it. But we'll probably move it up higher, and then we'll display the day. We kind of want to make the joke of what day it is, but I've been tweeting enough about the fact that this live stream's happening on a Wednesday that I should fucking know what day it is. Wednesday. In my ideas before this, I was kind of thinking potentially we have your location and the time. So what are we on now? Well, what I'm on is 7:12 p.m. Potentially have something like that. This is going to be very quick and dirty, so I want to go from nothing to this within the hour. We're at 8:15 now, so it's gonna take an hour, so we're looking at 8:15. What I blame for all the shenanigans at the start is I use this tool called OBS to do streaming, and it allows you to do hotkeys, and that works fine if you don't want to use certain keys on your keyboard, whereas I do, and then that's when things go wrong. So the key to stop screaming is Option Command 1. So as long as I don't do anything with Option Command 1, the screen shouldn't crap out. I've now removed that key. So first tool we're going to use is Code Sandbox. If you've never used Code Sandbox before, or do they have just a normal landing page, even though I'm logged in? Okay, so Code Sandbox is a really cool tool. It is, I like to call it like an online IDE. It's a web-based development tool, allows you to build predominantly, just static client, just client-side based websites. But it also allows you, I think you can do some Express and different backend inputs in it. But it allows you to build it all in the browser without having to have VS Code or WebStorm or any of these tools installed. It handles installing node modules. It has a built-in terminal as far as I remember. You can use it to run test suites like Jest and stuff like that as well. What I kind of like about it is this animation that we're viewing right now. Each little box falling down is a new public sandbox that's been created by someone in real time, and you can actually drag and move the boxes around. This is not necessary whatsoever, but at the same time it is. You can even catch them mid-drop and move them around, and there's a bit of a physics engine to kind of push the other boxes around. That's so unnecessary, but I like it. So for this, we're going to do, also is kind of cool, is whenever you are creating your application, it gives you a bunch of starter kits. There's React, vanilla, JavaScript, don't forget that. You can actually, and it gives you ones you've used recently. You can do just a static HTML5 website. There's Reason, a bunch of ones I've never heard of before. There's a Svelte one, for if you remember the Svelte episode we did. There's even a Gatsby one. So you can do all these different things. I'm going to go with React because we want this built in an hour, and I know, well, I shouldn't say I know, I think we can get this built in an hour. So, just a little shout out to Mark in the comments. Yeah, there's one of the developers I follow on Twitter who was the person who built the box thing. And when I seen it, I was like, I couldn't give a fuck if I can build applications in this tool. The fact that I can just see this stuff that's amazing. That sells it for me in general. So we've created an empty React sandbox. This gives us a little bit of a boilerplate. So it's more or less taking create React app and putting it into the developer, the web IDE that it builds for us. Controversial opinion, I'm not a huge fan of create React app. Multiple reasons. Number one reason is you're locked into a configuration that you can't change or extend upon without ejecting, which then you lose the entire benefit of create React app. If you are building applications on your own and you want a starter kit that you can extend and build and grow upon, there's a really cool one called not M, drink's already kicking in, NWB. So NWB, I think it's New Web something. This is a very cool starter kit. I wouldn't say don't use Create React App. Create React App is great for building something that isn't going to have crazy advanced usages in the future, whereas this allows you to actually modify your Webpack config, your Babel config, all these different config files that a starter kit or a CLI abstracts away from you. This allows you to extend it without having to eject or do anything crazy. It allows you to just kind of tap in and add on top of it instead of having to eject, lose all that configurability. Create React App is extremely opinionated, for the better in most cases, but at the same time it's opinionated. NWB is not very opinionated. It has certain things that it follows and it does, but when it comes to like little things like ESN configs, testing, it's not opinionated whatsoever. If I wasn't doing this solely online, I would be using NWB over Create React App. And yes, the Paul has a Web Talks NI T-shirt. Um, he is a fellow Web Talks NI Patreon. Someday maybe we'll do a talk together. If Garth is ever listening to this, he can hit us up for some sort of communication. That's right. Fuck. Let's get started. Cool. Sandbox seems to be running really, really slow for me at the minute. So let's refresh this. So Cool Sandbox, it gives you like an IDE with an in-browser rendering of your application. It seems to be running very slow. I don't know if this is just my internet or something else is going on. If not, we might have to just build this locally and manually push everything up. Oh, don't tell me my internet's going. Or is Cool Sandbox going? In fear of spam Cool Sandbox, I'm going to create a new Create React app. Cool Sandbox. It should render the Create React up here with Hello Sandbox. If it doesn't, we might have to just go off script. It doesn't seem like it's working. Interesting. There's nothing I'm missing as far as I can tell. Like, we've already hit a roadblock this far. I wonder if I just start making changes. So I say God, I can't type already. Okay, we might be screwed on this. Oh no, okay. Maybe I just need to make that right. So let's get started. We go back to our mock. We're gonna say like we want a screen that says what fucking day is it? Let's get our design out of the way. I'm not a designer. I'm married to a designer. He does all my design work. If you ever see something I design and you're like, oh, he did that, talk to her. At Liffey Designs. She'll comment in the chat. So we want to get a design palette for this. I have this very useful Chrome extension that puts up a palette every time I open a new tab. I never use it unless I want to just hash some piece of shit together. So when you install it, it gives you a color palette and a font. I'm not feeling these colors. I'm going to shuffle. I'm going to shuffle again. I'll do 3 times. Well, I can do 4 or 5. Come on. Yeah, I can go this. I can go this. Right. So we're going to start picking up some of these colors. So we have our editor here. First thing I want to do is everything's set up with an app.js and a styles.css. I don't care about the app fonts. I want some global fonts for the body. And I want to do background, color. I'm going to go, I want something off-white and beige. No, that's not great. So I'm going to go for, I think I have a color picker tool. I'll just inspect this. I don't want white, but I don't want that. So I think we've body. If I pick this up and then we kind of change it, something there, not completely off. I think that'll do. So we'll grab that hex code out of the dev tools. Color picking out of the dev tools is the easiest way to get shit done when you don't really need to arse about and do stuff. So we're kind of got an off-white background. So it's not bright white. We don't really care about it. So we'll save that. We'll go back to our app.js. So I'm being panicky, but I don't like this export default function app context. You know, const app equals that, and then make that an arrow function. Then export default. I don't know why, I just like to do that. time for a drink. So, since we got rid of that app CSS styling, we don't need that class name anymore. Then I'm going to do another strange thing where I don't like using native CSS. If you see anything in the background, that is my producer / wife / designer going to get another drink. I don't like using CSS. I'm shit at using CSS, but I like using styled components whenever I need to style something because it centralizes and makes the styles unique, and then we can like use them, reuse them, and all that kind of stuff. Even we're not going that far, but I'm stuck in my ways. So actually, I forgot to do that. So in Code Sandbox, there is this add dependency box under dependencies, which allows you to add external npm packages. So it's not just a straight up text editor. Like this isn't like Notepad++. It's more or less VS Code in the browser. So we can add our own dependencies. So I want to add styled -components, and we'll go for version 5. That seems to be the latest. Then I want to go component right. I'm not going to go component right now. If we get time, we can clean this up. So I'm going to go const styled title. And of no kind of doing on my own, I've found that this pattern of when I create a style component, I always name it styled and then whatever the component is going to be used for. So like if it was a paragraph, it would be styled paragraph or styled button or styled whatever. So it signifies that this is a style component over it being a normal React component, even though it acts like if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But I like having the style tag on it. Initially, I hated this because things should be semantic and reasonable, but now I've just kind of fallen on the pattern. So we do style dot. I guess we do h1. Really should be doing semantic HTML. We need to import style components. Forum. And what I love about this, this is a browser. This is not an actual development thing that you install locally, but it's giving me IntelliSense. It understands what I want to do. Like it's giving me ESLint rules. Like it's saying I've declared this, but I'm not using it. So we're creating this as a placeholder, and then we want to wrap that around here. We're going to go font size something big, 70 pixels. This is going to have to. This is going to be really slow. We'll do color. Oh, I know why it's not updating. Style title. Style title. Actually, style title. I'm missing something here. Oh. Go back to our color palette. We're going to go for this color. So we copy the hex, paste it in. Come on, re-render for me. If this is getting really slow, I'm just going to pull this down and build it locally. It does look like it's Code Sandbox is being really slow tonight. So we might. Okay, no, we just have to do a hard refresh. So hello drunk world. Let's jazz things up a little bit. So we want to get a new font. So we're going to go to Google Fonts. I'm going to pick out a random font. We want something big, bold, out there. I wish there was like a search in this. You hear barks in the background, that's the dog. Is there a way you can like categories? No, I don't care about that. Maybe go for handwritten. I really wish you could like filter just for one of them. Okay, if we're gonna go for the Excalidraw kind of style thing, this could be it. So, do I have to download this? Oh, fuck it, I just want to go to. I like the new. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna choose this font. So we're going to add it. When you add it, it gives you a little pop-up down here and it shows you how to import it. Weirdly enough, I'm going to be weird as shit and import it into the style tag. So that's the funny, when you're developing in the browser, you always command tab or alt tab, even though you don't need to because you're developing in the browser. So if we go to here, add our font in, and then go back to Google Fonts, it tells us how to use it. So it gives us the font family. We fly back in here, so now we can use that font family in our style components. Oh, okay, now we're looking good. Now we're looking good. I guess I want that, like, is it align text? Text dash align, maybe? Like a right text. Text align center. Oh, components. Text align, so hello drunk right. So we need to change this. So what fucking day is it? I guess we need a question mark on that. Right. Then let's see if we can bring an image in. Done this before. I can't remember how to do it, and I've had a few drinks. Drink time. And yes, I'm drinking out of Galway Crystal. Yes, they were a wedding present. Yes, I was warned before the live stream not to knock it over and break it by my wife. So let's bring an image in. I have an image here that I want to bring in. If I just drag it in, is it going to upload? Things are running slow at the moment. I don't know if it's my connection or if it's just CodeSandbox. Okay, so we got our image. The beauty about using a starter kit, it's already built up, but it knows that you're going to want to import images. You're going to import CSS, maybe Sass, font files, that kind of different stuff. So we should be able to just import the image as a resource. So I can do import what GIF, we'll call it. I don't know why when I import an image, I like to give it an uppercase. If there's anything I've been doing along this way that you're like, why the fuck are you doing it this way? What's going on? Slow that down in that kind of way. Like, shout out in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on it. I can try and go back and explain things. We'll probably do a recap at the end. So what GIF from / what GIF. Did I say what GIF? Or no, what day? Is that how we import it? Yeah, so we've imported what GIF. So now we can just drop this as an image. I don't know why, but anytime I use images, I always need to wrap them in a div to stop them from just like being huge and annoying and then be able to style them. Again, I'm not a semantic web developer, I'm not a semantic CSS developer. All I do is use div tags or span tags for everything. And then I like use Flexbox as much as I can for CSS. It's a bullshit reason, but all I do is write JavaScript. And there's other people in my company do the rest of that other boring shit that I couldn't be fucked doing. Not boring shit, but stuff that I don't know enough about. I'm more concerned about like writing micro optimization JavaScript for loops than centering a div. So do an image tag, declare a source. Our source is going to be what GIF. Again, we need to set this somehow, so we're going to do const img contain. Oh no! We're going to do styled img container. So I'm going to stick to my semantic coding style.div. Actually, I want to center everything, so this is going to be just styled container. And then trusty Flexbox display flex. I don't know. No one knows how to use Flexbox. align. Right, no. This is how I'm gonna build it like how I really build things. So replace this div. So why is that complaining? Oh, flex. Do at least I know flex direction is gonna be column. So then, right, let's inspect this. Might be best moving my dev tools outside, and then so we can tell this is a style component because it puts a random hash on it, plus it has some of our styles tags in it. Nobody knows how to use Flexbox off the top of their head. This is the pattern everyone uses Flexbox for. Align items center. That worked. What about align content? What does that do? Center, nothing. Justify content center does nothing. Justify items does nothing. So we know we need align items. So we'll get rid of that. So now our thing is justified. We don't need multiple files, so we can get rid of this and make this a little bit bigger. So, right, so what fucking day is it? If you've ever seen the episode of Friends where Joey's trying to explain what day of the week it is, that's what the GIF is from. What is this complaint about? Oh, we need an alt, is it? Yeah, we need an alt text. Monday, no. Tuesday, no. When? That is actually what he says in the GIF. No, Thursday. Thursday's not right. So that's the first part build out. Got a command S, it saves everything. Did a little bit of reformatting for me as well. It was quite nice. We did it. Actually, it's a file, save all. So that's our basic page set out. We want to do a little bit extra on this. So I want to show this GIF for like 5-10 seconds, then flick to the actual day. The flickering part we're going to handle after. The important part is getting the day out of this. So I have made a gist with some resources I'm going to try and use along with this. In JavaScript there is multiple ways of getting, I need to reorganize some of my tabs. In JavaScript there's multiple ways of getting like date and time and how you manage things natively. I don't want to be jumping out to like moment.js or date functions JS. They are useful, great tools, but they get a lot of shit and a lot of flack. I want to try something new that I've never used before. I want to actually use the native browser thing that was given to me. I haven't vaped in a while. It'll take me a second. Again, oh, we're up to 5 people in the chat. Take away 2. Well, we got 3 people watching along live. Again, any questions, anything you want to shout out, whatever, I don't care. Engage with people in the chat. It gives me something else to watch. So, that's the basic. That's what I'm not wanting. So, you can see what I've been searching already. Datetime. Yeah, so we just Google search JavaScript datetime. We get a bunch of W3 schools. Do not touch them. Ignore. If in doubt, MDN search, because you want the Mozilla developer documentation. You don't want W3 schools. A lot of stuff's outdated, very weird, broken examples. Mozilla developer tools or Mozilla developer network usually has the most up-to-date information. So I want to get the day of the week. The bare bones way of doing this is using the built-in JavaScript date utility or library class or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the name is, that's why I don't know what to call it. API. We'll go with API. So this is a very basic, rudimentary, but useful API. Let's see, right? How can we get the data of this? So like we can see that there's like a shit ton of stuff. I was about to point at the screen, but you can't see me point at the screen. There's a shit ton of APIs here. I don't care about a lot of it, so I want to get the day. So if I do day, we can see here there's a get day function. If we go into that link, you can see, okay, there's a get day, and from what I can tell here, it gives us the day from Sunday to Saturday in the number format 0 to 6. Useful way to, like, we can run this and we can play about this code here, but sometimes it doesn't feel like how you normally would use something. You used to like hacking shit together when you shouldn't really be doing it. You should be doing it properly. But this is the way I usually do things. So if I see an API like this is a native browser API that works on any browser, on any machine, anywhere. So I always open up the DevTools. I need to pin them in again. I'll open up the DevTools on MDN, and then I'll be right. I'll try and see if I can recreate the code that they're doing there. And they're specifying the date. I'm pretty sure you can just say new date, and it gives you the current date. Yeah, so we got when's, blah 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 blah. There must be a way to format that too. Why? How can it tell me, but I can't know? So if I do dot get day, so it gives me 3. If we go Sunday is 0, Monday is 1, Tuesday is 2, Wednesday is 3. So I could technically say like equals 3 in that kind of way. Although it's annoying that it gives me that. There must be a way to output the fucking day, because it's telling me the day, unless that's just something built in the Chrome or the browser. It probably is. But when I was digging into this, like I remember I was watching a podcast recently with it was like Wes Boss and Scott Dillingsley, whatever. I'm drunk and can't pronounce his name, but it's the Syntax FM podcast, and they were talking about this new API, and it's the like until date format API, and I think this is like meant to be the browser's replacement for Moment, or half-assed replacement for Moment. It's a tasty wine. Where it's meant to allow you to like format your date and time information, so we can get more detailed, human readable, and also it is like, as you can see in this up here, it's like language agnostic, where you can like feed a locale and it'll print out the information, stuff like that. I don't know if we'll get a lot of that kind of stuff, but I thought I bookmarked. I just put in the same bookmark twice. So we're going to have fun, aren't we? If worse comes worse, we're going to fall back to that old one. So I wonder if we do search this for day. So I think you can pass in a format. Yes, you can pass in a format, an option. So the API is kind of different. You have to pass it a date, and then the options are format, which seems a little bit long-winded. So again, I want to play about this. Let's copy this out and try it out in our console. Command K to get rid of it, get rid of the search bar. So our date is going to be new date. And we want en dash US. I want to say UK, but I'm not sure if that's an option or whatever. And then right, so it takes options. This is what I kind of find funny. Like if you've used Moment before, you would normally say like, here's the moment, date, time, format, and then what the format's going to be. Where this seems to be, here's the language, here's the format, and then it calls a dot format on the date. So you're saying apply this format to this date, instead of here's the date apply the format to it. Unless I'm reading this wrong, I don't know. We could be wrong. From skimming this quickly, I can see like how it handles the format, and it's like you kind of tell like, you know, the weekday, the year, the month. It has these certain syntaxes. I looked up the JavaScript spec, and there's like certain values, so it can be like long, numeric, short, this kind of stuff. I think for us, we want the day, so we want to say weekday. I don't know if it's just me, but it annoys me. I would kind of want weekday like that, but I know it's wrong. But again, I'm dyslexic, so it's probably the case. So we want to say long for it, and we trigger that. So that's how we get Wednesday. That's like, it's a lot of code just to get the day of the week. Maybe it's me, or maybe the browser or JavaScript should fix that. Again, I don't know. I'm not a fucking YouTuber or whatever, but like or comment or some shit like that if you care about it. Right, back to our application. So now we're gonna hide this GIF after a while. We'll maybe fade it out. We'll never know. So what the fucking day is it? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So we're gonna create. I'm terrible at semantic HTML, so I'm gonna just do a paragraph because I can, and I know it'll add some space in it for me. And then my good old trusty span. And we need to actually populate this value. It's probably not best to do it on the fly, so we'll say the day. So let's create a variable in our, that's too many spaces. Let's create a variable. We're going to say const the day equals what we copy and pasted. So Wednesday. Probably no, we need to style that up a bit. So we're going to say const styled the day. What am I doing? Styled dot span. And I want to take the same font as this. Probably could have made it the base font for the body, but we're being hacky. If you're wondering as well why I didn't use style components, why I still have this style CSS file for that background color. Style components is more focused on the component itself and not the entire page. There is a way to globally style with style components, but it's not really recommended. It's not what style components is for. Style components is styling a component that you can then reuse and share, not the entire page. So if you're doing global styles, there's always room for a style.css or a style.sass file that styles like your body, your base font, your base font size, maybe like your A tags. No, A tags should be components. But those things that aren't components, so there's like your base styles that build up your application. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna grab. I'm not gonna use the same font size. We'll do font size. One a bit smaller than that. We're gonna go 30 pixel, and I want to get a color. Oh, we lost our. Did we lose our? Oh, we lost our color palette. We can find another one. Nope, too beige. Maybe too dark. I like that dark color. Let's go one more round. Actually, that last orange. This is the thing. I wish I could go back. That orange color in the last one was great. We're never going to get. Oh, there we go. So we got a nice orange, and I'm going to do color that. And then I'm going to take that down to our span. So now, okay, we've got our day. We've got our day. Now, we got about, I want to say, max half an hour left. There's one last thing we could try, and it is getting the city name through this IP lookup. So I think I tested this out before, and I think it worked. We could try for that too. Fuck it, let's go for it. So that's bring in some statefulness because we need state. Actually, we don't. We don't. So this is where my shameless self-promotion comes into play. And we're going to add a dependency. We're going to do at Chris Laughlin use fetch. There we go, top of the results. So I built a wrapper around the fetch API as a React.js hook. So you can make fetch calls without having to use state, call fetch, and then have to do data.json, then data.return. It gives you, if it's loading, if it's an error, or it gives you the data. So we should then be able to use that. So I've imported it, so I now can say import use fetch from at. The only thing I had to do at Chris Laughlin because npm didn't like the fact that I called it use fetch because there's a couple of other like libraries on npm, that had the use fetch style name, which was a bit of a pain in the arse. I would love to just have the use fetch domain, but now I've got a namespace that I can start creating my own utilities. So we can say const, and if I can remember all the API for this, so I know we get data is loading there and error. Let me do use fetch. Now use fetch takes a string. You can also pass it the post body, or well, not this as well. You can pass it the fetch options that you want. It also returns a cancelable or an abortable controller, I think. So you can cancel it. I don't think he's on now, but there was a guy, Dan, that I work with. He added the functionality to allow you to abort the fetches. So if things were, if you were using a type ahead, then you could kill off those extra calls as they were happening. So we can say we use the same font. We'll put it in a paragraph as well. And we're going to say data ampersand. Now, I don't know what the data looks like. Well, I can probably look. The data's going to give us city. So we're going to pull out. So we're going to say if we have data, then we're going to do data dot city. Oh, and we got it. I don't know. I guess we could say, yeah, we don't need the error loading. It's not going to fail. It doesn't take that long to load. So, what we can do is while it's loading, we can hide that GIF. It's going to flash though, which is annoying. Fuck it, right? We want to get this pushed out. Take another drink and another vape. So kind of like recap what we just did. We went from we went from like 0 to a function application that makes a daytime call, populates that on screen. Then also we made a fetch to an external web server, gathered that data, parsed that data, and then rendered it on the screen. And like how many lines of code are we on? 40 or 54? It's a little bit too easy. I feel like something's missing, but yeah, we've got this. The one of the time, fuck the time. We only care about what fucking day is it? What day is it? So, I don't right. So again, I'm saying like everything stays in the browser. This works fine on CodeSandbox. If you can see my cursor, I know it's probably not zoomed in as much. In the where I'm hovering a minute, it says like open new window. So on the top of the browser window. So we can open that up in the new window, and it kind of hosts it like a site that you can access. But if you hit that CodeSandbox, I keep saying sandbox wrong. CodeSandbox will host it differently, and it'll throw up the spinner for CodeSandbox, which I don't want. This is a static site. It doesn't need to be hosted off their resources. I don't want to put their resources under unnecessary pressure. I want to host it myself. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this, and I think they have their deployment platform. I wonder, we can go straight to either Zeitz now or Netlify, or as well we could create this as a GitHub repo. I kind of like the GitHub repo approach because then I can save this, and then it's kind of, I can share this with other contributors, and I can take pull requests and all that kind of stuff, and then this becomes a project. So I think we're going to go down that route. If that fails, we'll try something different. We'll try this straight up deployment, but you can go straight to a deployment platform. I like the route of going to a source control system, so someone can build this outside of CodeSandbox and then contribute to it. We're going to try that. So we'll click sign in. And this is where I lose all my personal. Okay, right, sign in automatically. Let's create, so enter repository name. What day is it? Hopefully this has been fixed. For me in the past, this is where it's always kind of fails, where it fell over creating the Git repository, or if I came back in after it, it wouldn't recognize the Git repository. So technically now, if I go to, I can type, I go to GitHub/Chris Laughlin. And I go to repositories. Fucking A, I've got a repository called What Day Is It? And that was created from that CodeSandbox. So then, if I want to host this live, my next step is then I go to Netlify. Netlify is my thing of choice. Like, it is like shit easy to fucking post things. Like, I have 2 pages full of sites hosted on here. From here, I just go new Git site. My continuous deployment is going to be GitHub. I'm already authorized, thank fuck. And I say, what, do a bit of searching. What day is it? This is what I like about Netlify. It kind of knows the audience of the people who want to deploy onto its platform. It picked up that this was a Create React app by the signature of the code of the repo. It knew to use the npm run build command, and that the build directory was going to be the build folder, because it knows the standard of npm or of Create React app. Where it falls down is it doesn't know the standard for NWB, which is my other thing of choice, which means I have to configure that manually, and it's a bit of a pain. Well, not a pain, like you change 2 text fields. But now if we click deploy site, while it's deploying, let's change the settings. They give you this like pre-configured name. I want to say, what fucking day is it? Thankfully that is not taken. So if we go back to our deploys, oh come on, it's compute. Okay, right, we're starting to deploy. So again, we started actually coding at about, I want to be precise and say 12 minutes past 7. We're now at 7:56, and our code is currently building to a live server that can be accessed by anyone. That is load dependency, like has like load balancers in place, capacity monitors, things like, you know, make sure that the traffic uptime is correct. It also has, you know, a really good CDN around the world, so like things will always load as quick as possibly can, cache in different locations. Again, this is the boring part, but it's in delay. Ask comments. I'm getting like a.
You're all good.
We're doing good from the producer. After the stream, I'm going to have a real cigarette. The vape is good, but not as good when I'm live streaming. So we just let this run. Go back in, check our CodeSandbox. Everyone's fine. And the kind of cool thing is, now that this CodeSandbox is linked to that Git repository, you can actually, you know, push changes to the Git repository, and then they feed into the Code Sandbox. So Code Sandbox is the editor for the source, and I think if we make a change, oh fuck, what do we do? If we add a change on this, so if I do, can I edit and read only? What? What's going on? I'm viewing the Git version of it, right? It's building. The internet's being slow, so if I go into this and I go into here, I use that whole thing. Just one click should take you into it. Don't be so pedantic. Yes, so if I go in here and then if I want to make a change, so let's say I want to add, I'm vain as fuck, and I want to add my own Twitter handle. Because, you know what, fuck that shit. Right, so that has made the change for me. Maybe the symbol was a bit weird. Come on, save. I just have Chris login. So if I go into Git, yeah. So this is where it falls over for me. So normally it would give you the command. It would give you like an interface where you can create a pull request from Code Sandbox. So you could potentially use Code Sandbox and no Git environment whatsoever. You can create pull requests from here, but it doesn't seem to pick it up all the time. And this is what kind of gets me with Code Sandbox. It's an amazing tool, and fuck, I don't want to complain about it. It's free. Right, I'll wait till the Netlify deploy finishes before I do anything, because I could potentially break the whole thing. Right, forget that for a second. I want to try this out. Create repository. This repository should exist already. It should try and do a pull request. This is gonna fail. It's gonna fail. It better fucking fail. Better not trigger redeployment. Well, doesn't matter if it does. We got something loaded anyway. Yeah, so I find it very hit and miss whether it'll detect that it's already linked to an existing Git repository and allow you then to create a pull request. Maybe because I'm the original author, it doesn't like the fact of that. Whereas if someone else forked my if someone forked this and then tried to do something, it might allow that. But we have gone from zero code to a live web application that tells us the day of the week and fetches your current location under an hour. I think we're at 45 minutes at this point. I guess I did a talk a couple of months ago, maybe 6 months ago, about how, you know, it was a clickbaity title, but throw away the MacBook, you know, develop in the browser. This shows you that you can develop in the browser. Like, you have the ability to configure how you name it, how you call it. You get a file browser, you get your NPM dependencies. You can go in and you can like modify, create your now configuration, your TypeScript configuration, you know, JS config, prettier, ESLint. You can deploy straight from this tool. This isn't a paid advertisement for Code Sandbox. I just like, you know, if I can get hard off that shit. But it shows like you can do that. Then either go straight to Netlify or go to an actual GitHub repo, and then say, you know, I want to make some random changes. So I wonder if I go source. Actually, yes, we can do this. So again, you don't need this fancy Code Sandbox to make changes. If I go straight into app.js, now this is going to be a terrible editing environment, but you can edit directly in the GitHub editing panel. So I can say in here I should probably link, but I can be it. And then I can either create a pull request that I would then approve or someone else would approve, or I can just commit directly to master. Then if I flick back over to Netlify, go to overviews, go to deploys, and we have a deployment already started and building. None of this is paid for. And premium and you know pro companies pay for a lot of stuff that helps support the free users like myself, but this can allow anyone to build anywhere. Like the methodology I had for this originally was like I have a Chromebook that I use, not so much anymore, but I moved on to an iPad. But you should be able to develop from a Chromebook where it's just a Chrome browser, nothing else. You don't need this $3,000 MacBook that's sitting in the corner of your office. You could build and structure and do everything you want from anywhere you want to be. So I think we'll keep the GIF screen up. I think I'll pull up the. Okay, this is like half-ass editing this kind of stuff. Yeah, so I'll leave the chat over a little second while I'll sit here and finish my wine. Hopefully this was kind of a useful insight into like how alternative development methods are, how you can go from like 0 to using the Northern Ireland term 0 to 90 in under 90 minutes, thankfully. This is the kind of stuff that people complain about not having this and not having that. These things are free, available in the browser as long as you have a laptop or an iPad, or I tried this on a phone. It's not great, but it's doable. You can build and deploy a web application like that with no real knowledge other than just copy and pasta as much as you fucking can. So, as I give it a second to see if anything comes on the chat, I'm going to now publicize my fully built and deployed web application. I think there might be some stuff in the chat, but I think the chat might have everything. Okay, so there's still nothing in the chat, but it's right. So I'm gonna publish the website we just built, which is gonna be really out of context for people who follow me that don't know I'm doing a live stream. I think we're having some problems with the chat, so I might miss some comments.
Do you want me to read them out?
We'll get my magic of adjuster to read out any comments. I can't see much from whatever I'm looking at the minute.
Okay, so one is, what are your thoughts on Now versus Netlify?
Now versus Netlify? So I just struck like two random old women in high-vis jackets just walked past my house. Now versus Netlify. I know who this has come from, but right. Whenever Now announced, I was like, this is fucking awesome. You know, mydomain.now.sh. And .sh used to be the shithole thing. And like you could deploy from the terminal. There was a Mac taskbar plugin for it. After I did it once or twice, I remember I deployed something, tried to tear down, deploy something else, and like everything just fell apart and I couldn't find support. I couldn't find help, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step away from this. I wanted to deploy a Create React app and nothing else. But then it got so convoluted and so hard to understand. Like I was in that wasn't my like age of like I want like static, Gatsby style websites. Then I fell into Netlify, mainly like, well, actually, funny enough, like I filmed in Netlify before Syntax F.fm appeared, but they were like pumping it so much, and I just kept following them, kept staying on that path. The interface is really good. It reminds me of the days when I used to build and deploy like old school web applications with, like Jenkins or Team Foundation server. You would like you create a build, push up, and their integrations into GitHub were like it can like pre-build a pull request. So that's fine. This actually. So these are the kind of things that like really excite me about Netlify. The kind of things I wish I had in my work environment. Like how they do it, I don't know, and it's super complicated and hard to build up. So if I edit this file, whoever asked this question is still watching. Yeah, man. We're trying to think of something. So instead of committing directly myself, I create a branch and propose the file change. This better work, or I'm gonna get. So I create my pull request.
You're still big.
Oh shit. There, I'll make this smaller. So if you missed what was going on, I was creating a pull request. So if I create a pull request against that repo that is connected to my Netlify, so Netlify now starts like I don't remember doing anything to let Netlify do this, but it is integrated into the repository and it runs its own checks. It knows that I created someone's created a pull request. It doesn't have to be me. Anyone created a pull request, and it starts like running all these processes and doing these checks, and it creates like a pre-release version of the application that I can view without it actually going to production. So it builds a branch and hosts that branch for me. I don't know if like Next or I'm not sure if Now does the same, but like that's what sold me with Netlify. Like I usually use Netlify just for my own blog, a couple of random side projects where I'm just committing directly to master. Like we've got like a deployment preview ready, so that is the deployment preview, but this is still the site. So it's built and hosted a version of the site with that change from that pull request that is only accessible via me. So I can visually inspect the change before I merge that into master without having to go to any extreme processes. Like that is unprecedented. That is one of the big sells of this. The fact that they ship that in the free version as well is them just kind of like teasing you, like, come on, just come on board, just do it. If I went over top of that answer. But yeah.
Shall we take another question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the Netlify case, somebody said, Marcus Sullivan said, never heard of Netlify before. Would you consider using GitHub Pages or something like this app? Why not?
So the question I didn't hear, so is like, never heard of Netlify before. Would you consider using GitHub Pages? Why or what or when or where?
Or something like this.
Or something like this. Funny enough, like I used to use GitHub Pages all the time, and they were like the de facto thing of like you would. Do I have anything that still runs on a GitHub page? Maybe I have an old blog or an old version of a site that runs on it. I think usually the telltale sign that it's a GitHub page is the repo is your username.github.io, which is so I do have a GitHub Pages. So if you've ever used GitHub Pages before, one of the rules anyway, you can create them for any repository you want that's public, or you can create like an account overview for yourself. But it has as long as you name the repo your username.github.io, GitHub will automatically host that for you. What's wrong with this? Yeah, okay. This is a test site that I needed to like hit or whatever. It just says hold the door, hold the door, hold the door. Very useful. Yeah, that's an interesting question. So GitHub GitHub Pages was the static site generation tool that everyone used before these other premium static site generation tools appeared. I think maybe like they kind of they go back to the last answer where like the deployment previews and all those different things were added on top. With the GitHub sites, it was just like you were rendering your site. They were really great for like if you had a repo and you wanted to have a web page for your repo, it worked very well because you would build a GitHub page on your repo, and that would be the repo's like documentation site. Other than that, I haven't seen too much use of them since. I think a lot of time, and it's definitely in my case, like it's the hipsterism of I want something cool and hip that's brand new, even though this old thing worked exactly perfectly and met all my needs. This other new cool thing has the word React or fucking performance enhancement on the title, and I think that's maybe the case of why people fell in that path, and it's why I lost the way of the GitHub Pages. Now I'm gonna fucking start using GitHub Pages again for a while and see how it goes.
Okay, last question again from Mark O'Sullivan. How long have you been doing live streaming? Doing a great job.
So if you missed the question, it's like from Mark O'Sullivan. So actually, I'm gonna give a shout out. The two people in our chat, Mark O'Sullivan and Paul McBride, Fairfox D's, for actually commenting and doing something. I need something to keep going. Like my wife's in the background watching Disney Plus, trying not to, and I told her, don't listen to me, don't listen to what I'm talking about. I need to do this uninterrupted. But it's nice to have some people talking in the chat. The question from Mark was like, how long have you been streaming? You're doing very well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very drunk right now, as you can tell, and that's why I'm loving all your praise. This is the fourth This is the fourth live stream. Fourth that I've done solely on my own, trying to figure all this random shit out. People who live stream as a profession for Foxy, you obviously build some workflows. I think my main mistake is I'm still working with one monitor. The iPad is like a feed onto this, but it's timed. It's obviously fucking timed out, and I don't see it in the chat. I think I need a second monitor to put stuff onto. I think going forward, I'm going to build it as a bit more. I made like a makeshift lightbox thingamajigger or whatever. But I think going forward, this is going to be a weekly event. As long as I can keep a good solid supply of either whiskey and wine, I think this will last as long as it can. There's not a Patreon, but fuck it, if we start running out of whiskey and wine in Northern Ireland, this stream might not happen. So send me ideas of where I can get booze every week, and we'll keep this going. A shout out actually to Mr. Paul McBride. He's recently started streaming his own content on Twitch, doing coding long previews. He has a far more advanced setup than me that is super cool. He did recently one about XState and the David K piano I joined on, so it's worthwhile go down and check him out. He's in the chat, and I'll tweet about him later on as well. And when I say I tweet about him later on, it's not like a fucking YouTuber or whatever. I'm not that kind of fucking thing.
No, I'm just writing in, if you don't mind, going that you've done a lot of live talks at conferences, which has probably also helped. I haven't posted it yet. I'm gonna.
So even in like the main thing that I'm meant to see as a creator, I don't see these comments. Right? Is there anything left?
No, just that Paul said at one point that it was frozen, and look at the toggle in the code sandbox.
The toggle in the code sandbox. Oh, there could be any toggle. Right, we're past our hour. It's time to get Hello Drunk offline. Oh no, that sounds cheesy as fuck. That sounds cheesy as fuck. It's one of those things I've never found out, and I never will find out the way to end the stream. If you watched this far, thank you. If you watch this again the next day and it's not live, even more thank you. I'm gonna try and keep these going live. Like, subscribe, all that shit, whatever. Fuck it. Bye.